Okay, I'll come down to the south coast. Um, a nice little place called Hurst campsite for a few days. Got the Isle of Wight in the distance, and a nice little town called Lymington about a mile away. Anyway, I'm going to be doing some painting tomorrow. I'm here for about 3 or 4 days, hopefully. I'm here for about 3 or 4 days, hopefully. And I'm going to do some painting. There's my little tent for tonight. Should be fun. The weather's quite good at the moment. It's still early March, or sort of 11th of March, so it's very early for early spring. But we've had some nice weather recently, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to come down and do some painting. Right, just cooking my tea now. Got some prawns on the go there with some chickpea thing in there. So I'll eat that up, then I'm going to have a walk into town and see what's going on there. And then I'm going to have an early night so I can get ready for doing some painting tomorrow. So I'll catch you later. Good morning. A lovely night's sleep. Bit cold, got to be honest. Got down to about 2 degrees, something like that, overnight. It was, I haven't really got the sleeping bag for it, but nevertheless, I put my jacket on and whatnot and kept warm. It was fine. Now I'm having my porridge, and then we're going to go off sketching. It was this little church where my grandfather was buried in Milford. Now, I can't take on too much of the scene because it's going to be too detailed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to home in on the church and the spire piece over there, and a few of the gravestones in the foreground. Just try and get a feel of the place. I'll just show you what. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, it's quite light in pencil, but I've drawn out the scene here. The sketchbook again, not fiddling too much, not trying to draw every gravestone or anything like that, just getting the overall feel of the place. So I'm going to put some watercolour on this now and let's see how it goes. It's just I'm not putting any pressure on myself. It's supposed to be enjoyable, and that's what coming out sketching is all about. Just going to do the sky very light. A few broken edges there. Then we're going to make a bit of grey, add some burnt sienna, bit of ultramarine. Just going to leave it like that. Might just pop some this lovely bright green in for the grass while the sun's out. Might go with a nice yellowy colour. It's really bright when the sun comes out. It's really nice. So just put But we don't want to keep going back into that and messing around with it, because the more we mess with it, the more it starts to look untidy and yucky. So the church is all in shadow. This part of the church is everything is in shadow. So I'm going to do one big flat wash for the whole church to block it in. But basically you're painting this all as one shape, and then we'll go back over it afterwards to pick out shadows and any details that we can pick out. Basically what you're looking for is the warm and cool shifts of colour. That'll do. The spire's a bit wonky, but hey. Because the stone kind of, even though it's in shadow, it's got a lovely glow to it. It's such a hard thing to recreate. But I'm going to try. I'm going to paint this bit in. I've got to watch out, there's a tree here that I've got to put in. So I've got to paint around the gravestones, but I'm not being too fussy. I'm just flicking around them getting the overall shapes. Bit more blue there because it gets a bit cooler in that corner. So you're looking for the warm and cool and anything and any colour. Right, now there's a bush here. We'll put a bush in. Get this bush in. Something like that. We'll just leave it like that for the time being, let it dry, and then we'll come back and do a bit more. Okay, I'm just going to put this very dark tree in that's kind of here. Gonna try and break up the strokes a bit, introduce a bit more green. It's a funny thing with watercolour outside, you've got to paint so quick, but you've still got to remain reasonably accurate. This is why it's such a good practice for anybody really, because when you go indoors and you paint after you've been painting outside, it seems relatively easy. And I do mean that, you know, a little bit. I don't think anybody can ever describe watercolour as easy. But right, I don't want to kind of mess about too many shifts of colour because I'm going to be, you know, just going to get confusing. It could start raining soon. I can see clouds building up. Slightly more orange than the one behind, so, or red I should say. So we'll just get that little bit of definition there. And then what we'll do is now we'll start adding a little bit more blue to it, just to cool it down a bit. I can feel that rain come in. Let's hope not. You just can feel it without it even raining, can't you? If you know what I mean. You just know it's going to do it. And then we've got a much lighter version behind. Comes up like that. Right, so right, just put a little bit of darker green on this bush here. That's not very good. It's a horrible colour. We'll come back to the other one in a minute. Right. Okay, let's just do some with these gravestones. I'm just going to suggest the gravestones with a little bit of shadow colour, like this. I'm not going to do them all. Let's try and vary it a little bit. I'm just going to do some little squiggly bits to indicate branches there. Right, let's put some shadows in for these gravestones where they're coming back, because they are casting some nice shadows. Well, they were. They're not now because it's gone a bit overcast. Let's just put. There we go. These aren't really meant to be tutorials, in all fairness. I'm just showing you what I'm doing outside when I go painting. I have rushed this a bit, as you can no doubt tell. But anyway, what it's supposed to do is to inspire more people to go out. Must make the rest of that. To inspire more people to go out painting, basically. You know, I'd like to, obviously, ideally I'd like to just paint this again and have more time in it and just think about it a little bit more, but you know, there we go. It's all a bit of fun. Anyway, so there's Milford Church. I'm just about beat the rain. I can feel it coming now, so I'm going to call it a day before everything gets soaked. So let's see where we'll go now for another sketch in a bit. Here we go, Hurst Castle. The first part of this was built in the 1540s in Henry VIII's time, and his men constructed it's called a battlement here to protect the western end of the Solent. It's been added to in later times, Napoleonic I think, and obviously to help defend in the Second World War. Okay, I've got my little pencil sketch done, and it's just in a little book actually I made. It's just a watercolour, but I actually use proper watercolour paper in it. I think it's something like Arsh or Bockingford or something, I don't know, paper. But anyway, there's my little sketch. Clouds are quite brooding over there, so I'm just going to paint it as it is and see what happens. And hopefully it'll be a nice little memory. There we go. And then I'm just going to get some water and a little bit of more of the raw sienna and just make it a bit more watery at the top, just like this, so that runs off into it. Just like that, so it's not too heavy all the way up to the top of the page. Try to do this one-handed. There we go. So soft, tidy up round the lighthouse. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get enough time to film that, but it was quite a simple little painting overall. Obviously I just blocked in the sky with some whatever colour mixes of with a blue and a brown, and a little bit of wet and to wet painting to soften the clouds a little bit. Then obviously painting the grass in the foreground, or the middle ground I should say really, and that little post, I quite like it actually, to the right, bottom right. It kind of adds something, I think, even though it's offset a bit awkwardly. I think it kind of works. But it's just for a memory of the day really. It's just these sketches. This is why I recommend everybody goes out, instead of you take your pictures, obviously your photos, because they're really important memories too, but also you really do remember everything when you sketch it in life, you know, because you study it in such sort of in such detail that you really learn a lot about the building or the scene or the landscape, whatever it is you're looking at. So I just wish it looked a bit promising. It kept raining and I had to keep darting for cover, so and now I'm waiting for it to dry because it's very cold at the moment. And there we go. So yeah, very simple little watercolour, just painting that little lighthouse there. Hopefully by the time I get back round to Keyhaven, the sun will have come out and I can do a little bit more painting there of some boats or something in the warmth. Sun is supposed to be, it's supposed to be more sunny this afternoon, so fingers crossed. Okay then, I've just isolated a bit of this scene out there. There's of that fishing boat I fancy painting. I'm not bothering with the two boats on the right. I'm just using my small sketchbook again. I've done the drawing. Very simple outline of the boat, and just a very simple outline of the marshes and just where the tide's gone out there. So it's freezing cold, so I'm going to get some paint down as quick as I can and see what we can make of it. I've kept the sky very simple, just a wash of grey, and this is just where the sea and the marshes meet. There's a little bit of light there which I want to preserve if I can, and I'm just keeping the brush strokes as even as I can. I've gone over the trees there with the blue sky, with the grey sky. It doesn't matter because the trees are going to be a lot darker than the sky, so it's fine to do that. So okay, I've got that little wash in there. Then as it comes first, as the mud flats come closer to me, they get slightly warmer, so I'll be adding more warmer tones to more warmer colours to my palette, you know, to my mix as it comes forward. Okay, I've added a few more colours to the middle ground. The page flew open while I was painting because the wind got into the page. Unfortunately, it's the brush marked the sky, so, but nothing I can do about that. Don't try and sort of blot it out, or just make a worse mess. In the little fenders, the brightest colours. I haven't tried to match the colours exactly because when you're out painting, you've got to do it quite quickly, and if you try and match all the colours to exactly what you think they are, then you're going to be here all day and you're going to be freezing cold. You'll probably end up giving up. I'm sorry I can't film it because I can't film and paint one-handed. I forgot my tripod today. A bit stupid really. There we go. You sort of get the shape of the boat by adding details and stuff. Little details on little bits of shadow here and there where it is. Even though it's quite a flat, it's quite a dull light, there's still shadows. If you search for the shadows, you can see them. There are shadows there. There's still quite a bit to do, but I want to make the boat stand out a little bit more. Some of the background here has to be strengthened. But we'll see. We won't fiddle too much because I'll get to a point where my eyes, my fingers are nearly dropping off. But that's the view. It's out there, you can kind of see it. It's a pretty little view. Okay, there we go. That's the finished, well, nearly finished. I might just, there's a few little things I might do when I get home, but overall quite pleased with it. Just got really difficult to film my hands towards the end, so I've kind of given up on it. But anyway, there's a little scene out there, the boat. Okay, we're at the New Forest today. It's the last day of my trip back home this afternoon. I've had a fantastic 4 days down here. I've not done as much painting because it's just been so blooming windy and showery that it's not really conducive to watercolour painting. But the fact is, I've been out and I've given it a go. I know some of the things that you've seen you haven't seen the actual process, but I'm going to be doing a lot more plein air painting this summer, going and sort of breaking it down for you, and just join in. Basically, it's all about encouraging you to go out and have a go. And my work's living proof. You haven't got to be Rembrandt to go out and have a go at plein air painting, but it will give the best memories to your trip ever. You go out and you actually paint in watercolour outside, or any medium. You don't have to be just watercolour, oil paints or whatever, and you'll know that scene, you'll remember that view better than any other way. You know, I'm sure it's not the case for all, but I'm sure photographers have the same experience. But I know with watercolour and painting in general, you really do scrutinise the scene, and I'm going to get blown over it. You scrutinise the scene, and then you commit it to paper, and in that process, it commits it to your brain, and you've got that forever. Trust me. So I'm going to show you the scene, and then we're going to go on and paint the picture. There's the view. Okay, you can just see the group of cottages down here. Okay, it doesn't look much, does it? I'm going to zoom in a bit. I'm only doing a small painting, maybe I don't know, 5 by 7, something like that, inches in my sketchbook. I'm going to zoom in on the cottages a bit. I'm going to break it all down very simply. I'm not going to try and paint every tree and every branch. I'm just blocking in masses of colour and just trying to get a feel for it. So that's all I'm doing. You know, you're not going to do anything else up here. You know, it would be an absolute miserable experience if you tried to paint that in detail from this point. Well, it would be for me anyway. So hopefully next time you see me, I'll have done the drawing and you'll be watching me paint the scene. Right then, just paint these little cottages in the forest. We'll have a look at the scene in a minute. I'm just going to start putting some of the gorse in. I might exaggerate that a little bit because I'll have to paint this a bit darker green. Put some of the gorse flower in. I'm a bit early, I think, for it. Or it might be late. I don't know. But this is my last. Got to go back home later today. So basically, I'm just looking at the scene. I'm actually painting so I've not got the sunlight on the page. I'm painting facing the other way and then turning around to look at the scene. Really zingy sunlight on there. I want to just get that in. So I'm just going to plonk that in. It's just a bit of burnt sienna with a bit of carrot yellow in it. It's also, I probably overplayed it a little bit, but I think I have to exaggerate the best colours. This is a bit cooler on this end. It's not quite as bright, but I think it looks a bit dull. So I'm just going to paint it blue. I'm having to lean over my chair. Then I'm going to paint this bit in shadow with the same blue and a bit of burnt sienna. There we go. But I'm just going to go with a very bluish bit at the top, like this. And just, like I say, I just want to cover some ground, then warm up a bit with a bit warmer colour down here. We don't care. Most important thing is we're enjoying painting it. We don't really care about looking at a mess. We're just gonna enjoy it. Don't worry about, because if you're going to start being too fussy, you are going to be in trouble. It's going to be absolutely some more houses down here. And we got some just trying to indicate in the foreground the different bits of gorse. There's a bit of blue in this actually. I'll put a bit of old cerulean blue in it in the foreground. I might come back and put some shadows in later. Again, yeah, this is just suggesting it. It's not. It's for my. When I go back home and I'm sitting in the house wishing I was down here, then it will be like a little prompt for me. Once it's dried, I'm going to come back and just tidy up around the house and everything and give it a bit more shape that way. Got some greens down there. Got some greens down here. But I'm just not gonna. Oh yeah. Then we got some more of this colour. It's like very short dead grass. I'm sure it's not dead. It's just where I'm just going to paint that around here and here. There we go. I'm just going to let that dry a minute, and then have another go. Okay, then I'm just putting in some of the darks now to give it a bit more structure. So this is some of the dark greens that I can see in the gorse. I'm just trying to sort of okay. I'm just thinking what I'm going to do. There's some little light bits of colour here just to suggest the contours. Different areas. You know, I could go on messing about this for ages, but I just wanted sort of like a 20-minute sketch of the scene to give me just a memory of it. And the most important thing I wanted to, which I haven't really managed, was to create the light on this part of the cottage. I need to spend a little bit more time just pulling out some of the detail, and that will just tidy that up a bit, and maybe a few branches here and there. But I'm not going to try and do that here. It'd just be too fiddly. So anyway, there we go. There's my little New Forest cottage. It won't win any awards, that's for sure. But I really have enjoyed painting this one. Really enjoyed it. So I hope you know. I've really enjoyed painting this one. I'll let that dry and then I'm going to be going home. I've got about, it's not far, about 150 miles to drive. Yeah, and I'll catch you later. Bye for now.